Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a Premier League presentation bringing you guys Game 3 of this Best of 3 series. This is the first round of the Premier League Season 5 Super Cup, the playoff cup, where the cash prize is going to be distributed. But we have to see here who's going to be going on into the winner's bracket versus Alliance, who's going to drop down to the lower bracket versus Evil Geniuses here. It is, again, the third game of this Best of 3. Mouz Sports and Virtus Pro duking it out for quite some time here. The first game, kind of a wash, a lot of disconnect issues, plenty of technical problems, and well in Virtus Pro's favor in the end. But Mouz Sports playing an amazing game too. If you haven't watched it and that you're looking at VODs right now, then you should definitely check it out, because that is some of the funnest Dota I've been able to cast, and I definitely think you should check it. But obviously a Tinkerband going to come on through from Virtus Pro this time around. Quackova not going to be able to pick it up this time, but still, moving on forward, going to be an interesting Game 3 to round out the series. Thank you guys for tuning on, and I am Blaze. How's it going, Triumph?
Virtus Pro's turn to pick. Mouz Sports' turn to pick.
Are you muted on your end? There seems to be an issue there. That is unfortunate. Just give me a second, guys. Don't know why that's not working out. I'm going to go ahead and redo the call real quick. Not sure exactly what's going on there. Sorry about the small technical issues. He's calling me up right now, and hopefully we can get audio from him. But still nothing, apparently. That is not good. Meanwhile, draft goes on. Anti-Mage and OD have been picked up by Mouz Sports. Nature's Prophet picking up being picked up by Virtus Pro. And still having some issues. So I'm going to actually just close all of this and start that up in just a second. Sorry guys for the small technical issue. Not sure where that came from, but not a big deal. We'll get it set up in just 1 minute here, and it should be no problem at all. Fix that too, if I can. A lot of small issues here and there, but there we go.
Mouz Sports' turn to ban. Mouz Sports' turn to pick.
Just a second here. We'll get that fixed on up. And I'll go ahead and take care of that for right now. So anyways, going on back into the draft. I guess we just needed a quick little breather from that last epic little game there. But going on into this next one here, we're going to see an interesting matchup. As far as the bans go, like I said, Lone Druid and Tinker. As well, they've added Keeper Light and Clockwork. And now looking at Nature's Prophet and Alchemist have been picked up by Virtus Pro. As far as Mouz Sports draft, they've banned out the Wisp, the Bat Rider, the Chen, the Enchantress, but they've picked up for themselves Outworld Devourer, Anti-Mage, and Visage to make a very powerful defensive trialing with AM and Visage, and the OD is going to have a great time in the mid lane here. So, looks like I've got your back, Triumph. Can I hear you? What in the world happened? Oh yeah, he's not talking at the moment, so that's good. We'll see in a second, but at least for the moment here, I'll just cast up the draft as best I can. And seeing this lineup, we're going to see Alchemist, most likely picked up by Illidan this time around. They don't really switch up his role too much. Sometimes he plays OD, but beyond that, he's pretty much guaranteed to be the hard right-click carry, such as Alchemist here. And so he'll go on the top lane. KSI will be playing the Furion down on bottom.
Okay.
There we go.
How you fixed it?
Excellent.
I don't know, just randomly, my PC said, you know what? You know that microphone you were using earlier? It's not here anymore. Please unplug it and then replug it in.
Cool.
And that fixes it. I don't know.
Well,
PCs.
As long as Dota TV accepts that as well, we'll be good. If you want to enable your camera, that'll work on stream there too.
Yep. One sec. I will also just, I will actually just rejoin the game to make sure Dota TV accepts it as well.
Sounds good.
There we go. So I'll just do that and let you go on with the bands.
Alright, so what we see here is going to be a dual core lineup by Mouz Sports. Pretty common here. What we're going to see is Anti-Mage solo bottom via Black. Visage and Lifesteal are going to go on the top lane, and they're going to be putting out a lot of pressure here on the Alchemist, forcing him away from a Grievel's Greed build, as well as possibly picking up a few kills. Now, it looks like it might be Kunkka versus OD. It means that Kunkka is going to be prioritizing Tidebringer instead of just Torrent, because of the fact that he isn't going to have much mana at his disposal. So he's going to be able to do a lot of right clicks, do a little bit of cleave harassment, and the big thing is he's going to be able to survive against against OD as long as he needs to in the lane, even though OD will inevitably win out just a little bit ahead. So the big question is how effective Mousesport's tri-lane will be and what they reinforce that with as far as supports go. There is a ban on Keep It Alight, so that's not going to be an option, but there's still plenty of other great tri-lane supports. However, they are going to be up against Bane Alchemist, which is not too shabby in of itself.
Alright, so if you just want to tell everybody to turn it off and then on again with the Dota TV, I think it should be working now.
Yep, so guys, if you're listening to Dota TV and you can only hear me and not Triumph, go ahead and just turn off your audio and then turn it back on. By that I mean the audio channel that you hear from broadcasters. So do that and you should be able to hear both of us, no problem at all. Sorry for the technical issues to get us started off, but now that we have it going on, what do you think about this draft, Triumph?
I'm just looking at this and thinking, this is fairly conventional. I mean, we've seen Kanka to take on the OD has been sort of he's kind of like, you're not going to crush the OD in the lane, but at the same time you can always guarantee getting a bit of farm, a respectable amount of farm with a cleave, and you can somewhat harass him and keep him at killable levels. The trick is, again, still trying to rotate, like find the rotations to pick him off, because it is still pretty difficult to do, because, again, at the very least you're not going to have any mana to torrent, which is the difficulty there, unless you pretty much sit back for a few seconds and let it wear off, and then maybe try and do a long-range torrent bomb, but it's pretty difficult to pull off one way or another. The Disruptor, that's an interesting choice. I think they could, like, they have some seriously painful AoE there with the Disruptor and the Conquer. If they land a combination with Disruptor and Conquer, that is a lot of displacement between Glimpse and X marks a spot. And if they land the Static Storm and the Boat together and a Kinetic Field, like, that's going to pick off a lot of heroes. I think this could be problematic for I think Mousesports, they're going to have trouble in the team fights, but it's going to come down to their laning and how far ahead they get in that stage.
Potentially, but one thing to keep in mind is that Virtus.pro doesn't really have any grouping mechanisms, no vacuum, no RP, so it kind of seems like they'd have to be daft to actually group up against a Concoction, Torrent, and everything Disruptor brings on in, so we'll have to see how positioning plays out as well. But I'm not so sure either way. I think Mousesports has some decent team fight themselves, and if they position themselves well, they can still take some pretty good 5v5s. But to start us off, let's go on through the lineups here. Starting off, we have Mousesports, and looking over, we do see that the Captain Synderen has picked up Lina once again. We're going to see Koikwa on the Lifestealer, and he's going to be going in the aggressive trial lane there. Then we have on the mid, Fata playing the Outworld Devourer, and it's going to be Paz playing the Visage as support. Finally, Black is going to be on that Anti-Mage, getting pulled some regen to go down bottom, carrying it up for Mousesports. Looking over at Virtus.pro.
Yeah, just bring up Virtus.pro's lineup here. We do have NS playing Disruptor. This has been something that used to get respect banned against him a lot. The Disruptor, Illidan being playing the Alchemist, KSR Nature's Prophet, and Arsart playing the Bane, and then Tamar Wild, solo mid Kunker, most likely. You do bring up a good point. They don't have a grouping mechanism, but I think it's going to come more down to pick-offs, because if you can pick a priority target, like if you can basically get a good shot on the OD with a Glimpse or with the X marks spot, obviously he can try and dodge the first one. If you can try and dodge the first one with an Astral Imprisonment, but you can follow up after. You got both Glimpse and the X marks spot. If you can go for the priority pick at a hero that they can't really afford getting picked off, or if you open up, obviously, with a Shadowblade Alchemist, I feel like they can force Mouse to engage, and that's where things are going to get messy, because, unfortunately, you've got Lifesteal. He's got to come in close. Anti-Mage, if he wants to fight, needs to get in close as well, and I think this is where this could cause some problems. Also, I think the other advantage Virtus.pro has is Black is going to be spending, he's going to be not ready until the 25 to 30 minute mark. And before that, they're going to have a fairly distinct advantage there. Plus, their mobility, we saw how strong it was last match. They do have a Nature's Prophet who can show up to help out as well. So I think they have some opportunity for pickoffs and the like there. Because, I mean, if they pick up... the thing is, if they pick up even a couple of heroes, I think that's going to translate to tower kills, especially with the fact Nature's Prophet can immediately sort of grasp and attack any lane that presents a weakness.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a fair point to make here. Looks like Paz is having some issues lagging it up. Not disconnected as of yet, but yeah, still those technical issues that come into play with Mousesports. Hopefully not more so a remake of Game 2 rather than Game 1, where we just had the whole team disconnecting multiple times over. But yeah, as far as this tri-lane up top, it's going to be pretty powerful here. Nightmare to set up Concoction and Kinetic Field Thunderstrike. So essentially, if there is one hero that is out of position, they're going to have a lot of potential picking them off individually. But another thing to keep in mind is that the Nightmare can be bounced around a little bit, and if Synderen's far enough away, 635 ms or distance is how far she can bring that sleep back to the south, and that might be just enough to get a more favorable positioning when it comes down to the small 3v3 skirmishes. Now, this time around, KSI is currently moving his Treants around the mid lane, but again, I believe it will be him heading down bottom in the end. And yeah, the big thing to keep in mind with that is how much he's committing as far as his mana to Treants and how much he is to teleport. If he teleports more, he'll be able to engage in 4v3s up top. If he Treants more, then he's going to make it more difficult for Black to farm down bottom.
Indeed. We'll see how they manage to handle that, though. Just gonna ask Mouse, I wonder what's going on over there. I looked at his ping and it says it's only at 99 ms, so I guess if it's laggy, it's probably not network related. It's more just his PC is just shit in the bed.
Yeah, that's possible. Graphical and RAM processing. There's so many different hardware pieces that could be creating like this little perfect storm of problems, but we'll see. Either way, he's disconnected on out. As soon as he reconnects on in, I think it'll be good to go, but for right now, it's better to get these out of the way before the action starts. And that random spike thing was rather unfortunate. So, a little bit more delay, but yeah, in this situation, I'm not really sure much more what to cover. I mean, if the Prophet goes in the mid lane, he can hold against OD for the first couple levels, but once Fata is level 3 and has a decent mana pool, he is going to be... Oh, that's awesome. He's going to be able to dominate the lane unless, of course, Kunkka is the one to take up that flak. And that's more likely, considering Team W does have that Stout Shield, a bit of pooled regen from NS, actually quite a bit, and then, of course, a Quelling Blade to last hit. So I think they're just going to go level 1 Team W mid, not going to go for that little swap nonsense, but not a big deal. So, Triumph. Long day of Dota. Awesome, a couple awesome games, but, of course, a little bit dampened by these disconnection issues. How you holding up?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I feel Paz's pain. He's saying it's like just a graphical glitch every now and then, like it just frames just drop for no reason. I've actually had this before as well, a couple of patches ago. And I've seen a few complaints about this on the Dota 2 dev forums as well. Just some people randomly get it. Just they'll go in, they'll do something, and then just for every 5 minutes or so, they'll just lose all their frames. Just no apparent reason, just happens. Nobody really knows what's causing it. And for me personally, it's stopped as of 2 patches ago, but I still see people complaining about it, so this isn't actually something I think that Paz actually has any control over. So it's unfortunate. Like, he's not going to be able to fix it, so if it keeps happening, they're just going to have to soldier on and bear it, unfortunately. But yeah, this mid lane, like, they have pulled, like you mentioned, they pulled that regen for Kunkka, but even then, he's going to get edged out eventually. But I think he's going to get a decent amount of farm, but the thing is, like, Tamer Watt, like, he's not there to farm, he's there to cause pain, and I think once he hits that level 6, or even before that, like, he's just going to run around. He's going to try and cause trouble and just and just create room for Virtus Pro to exploit that. Because if they can make room, they knock down towers, just basically, and if they infest, like literally infest Mouse's jungle, it's going to be very difficult for Animage to find that farm.
Yeah,
because that's the best way to shut down. It's not to kill him in lane. It's not to just make it hard for him to farm. It's to shut down, like, it's to take his tier 1 and then to sit in his jungle, and then he really struggles to find room to get money.
So, in this position here, Koikova is trying to hide their position a little bit, hiding out in the trees, juking it up a bit, but in the end they did, of course, scout out his positioning, so they know at the very least Lifestealer is going to be going on the top lane, and yeah, with that, you can pretty much figure that the other 2 supports will be there with him. So they get some wards down at bottom, helping Black just secure his farm, and from there, he's just going to be able to focus primarily on the creeps and take a little bit of harassment here and there from Treants, from right-click, stuff like that, but... actually, nice little move from KSI. I always got to highlight, he's so good at controlling those Treants.
Top lane.
No concoction just yet, but looking for an opportunity. Probably just some auto-attack harassment default.
No, they were baiting. They were baiting so hard here. There were 3... See how they've cut this little path here? There was 2 of them hiding behind there, and then Bane walked around trying to get them to follow him because he's actually level concoction. They're looking for that level 1. They're looking for the first blood. Here it comes. He's charging up. Can they finish it off there? Thunderstrike going down as well. They're going to probably pick off Sinner. Sinner should be the first blood. They trade for a kill, but the first blood is done. And they got what they came for.
Yep, went to Disruptor, so NS is going to have a ton of cash going for Boots or Flying Courier, and they're going to be able to control this tri-lane pretty extensively. Need to get some magic sticks up, though, because both sides of the lane are rather spammy back and forth, so that's going to be a pretty instrumental item pickup. It's just stick charges back and forth, back and forth. One cool thing that happened down on bottom earlier, KSI was actually using the treants to pull the creep wave back just a 2 seconds, 3 seconds hesitation. And what ended up happening was the dire creeps went on the Radiant Tower and forced the whole Creequilibrium into a more favorable position for KSI, where he cannot just be harassed by Mana Break Anti-Mage over and over. So, nice little maneuver there. Just those little things really do help out, but most of the blood action definitely going to be up on top, as so much kill potential from either side. Meanwhile, as far as CS goes, Black topping out at 7, and we're looking also at the OD tying up Kunkka 5 for 2.
Yeah, that's something that you don't actually often get to do as a Prophet, because he'll be up against the Trialing, so he won't get an opportunity to do that, because Anti-Mage will just tank the creep wave for a few seconds while the supports pick off the trees and then allow the creep wave to push out of range of the tower. But in this case, because the supports are tied up in the top lane in the offensive tri-lane, he can do this all day. Like, in fact, he can keep doing this. Just pick off one creep if he needs to, and send it out there to distract the creep wave for a few seconds and get it to push back towards his side. Because Anti-Mage can't afford to hang around tanking the tower or tanking the creep wave for that long. That said, he's going to get aggressive. Black does have 1 level of mana break, so he's going to cause some trouble there for KSI. And now he is using this Orb of Venom to cause some trouble though back, just harass back pretty heavily.
Kunkka on the mid, taking a lot of harassment from the Illusion Rune, but will be able to get on out of there, popping off his salve. So OD exhausted a lot of mana here, not getting the Essence Forward proc he needs. Possibly going to go for Bottle, but they don't really want to have to go mech on Visage, so I presume they're actually going to go for the Buckler on Fata pretty early on.
Yeah, I get the feeling that they'll try and pick up the mech in this case as well, because they don't really have anybody else who can rush it in this case, or even like safely pick it up, because they've got, well, they're running in the trial. Like Pass could pick it up potentially, like it wouldn't be a bad choice in him, but the problem is he's just probably not going to get the farm for it in this case, especially if they're trading kills all the time. Because Virtus Pro, I think in this situation, are very happy to trade, because like, look, they're not even, like Alchemist, not even getting 1 level in greed, is very happy to fight, and it's kind of Virtus Pro's MO as well. They love fighting, and speaking of fighting, oh no, NS gets caught by the Light Strike away, will get picked off now, and the Grave Chill now on Arsat. Arsat may get picked off here as well. Maybe they've got the souls charging up, not going to happen though. Pass decides not to fling it off, wasn't a full charge yet, and Arsat did have at least 300 or so health.
Yep, he also has full mana, and there's so many tools for Bane to turn things around. The heal from the Brain Sap, the disable on himself or his opponent. Either way, a lot of going for him. So I don't think there's too much potential to kill the Bane very, very soon, especially now that he's healed up with Tangos and he has those stick charges available. But the pickoff on NS was really, really good for them, and they need to keep that going if they want this momentum of the tri-lane to work out in their favor.
I'll be fair, NS probably shouldn't have been as deep as he was. It was a little bit silly to get caught out there. But, you know, Mouse Sports are going to punish him for that. And it's exactly what they should be doing as the offense trial. Like, you need to, anytime someone steps out like that, they need to make sure they capitalize and secure those kills, because otherwise they end up really, really far behind. It's already bad enough that they ended up giving away a first blood, which gives the supports in the opposing team a lot of an advantage over them. Just even getting, like, even one guy getting up boots a little bit earlier than you do is really painful. Like Lena now wandering around without boots, it sucks. She just cannot close the gap quickly enough to get the Light Strike waves down. She gets hit by the Nightmare now. Grave Chill though on top of Arsat. The charge up concoction. She's going to throw it straight in Cinderin space. Cinderin likely to fall here. Cinderin gets picked off. Connect builds up. Will save Arsat. He is running out of mana though. He won't really be able to push much further, and I think they're just going to harass Pass a bit, although Pass turns around. They will back off though in the end.
He knew that he needed the Grave Chill movement speed boost, or that second Unsaving Concoction would come on through. Actually, a pretty short cooldown at only 16 seconds, effective enough to bring through a second time. And bringing that to bear can really, really just seal the deal. We saw that work wonders on Cinderin, who again is falling further and further behind. And yeah, that's going to keep on happening. Lena sitting at level 3, only 1 armor, and that Acid Spray actually puts it down in the negatives, so that's a really big deal there.
Oh yeah, it's quite painful indeed. Looks like OD has gone, he's picked up his 3rd level there. He's probably about to get his ult, actually, maybe not his ult. He could, I suppose. I mean, there's good potential he could just outright kill Kunkka if he picks up his ult at level 6. Because Kunkka is being harassed pretty heavily, and combined with the harassment, I think you could pick him up. But now, top lane, no, I'm not going to see a pick off there. But I think he's probably just going to go finish off Essence Aura as well as the Astral. No, he actually does. He does level the ult. There you go. Bottom lane, Black, doesn't find anything though. Top lane though, Blaze.
Yeah, close at hand. Koikova does have plenty of durability now that he has gotten his 1-1-2 up. He has the Rage, he has the Magic Stick, and he's kind of fearless until the Fiend's Grip comes on out. So not too much to worry about in that regard, but they still don't feel comfortable just farming and farming and farming, because right now, of course, the Alchemist is still getting some Grievel's Greed last hits, and they're not finding the kills, so their experience is detrimental. Now, one good positive for their lane is that they do have this pull warded, so the other supports cannot get their own independent experience from that. That's been taken out for the 3-minute time period of the Sentry Ward. But, in turn, VP has been able to find a bunch of kills, and they've always happened before the opponents. That means that they can target fire one person, aka Synderen, and make sure that he's not going to be able to get to level 6 anytime soon. And if he's the one that's continuously behind in experience, then that means that they have more teamfight potential when everybody on Virtus Pro's side gets their ultimates.
Yeah. Losing that pull there for that few minutes, I don't think it's a huge blow here to VP, because I can't really use it all that much. We'll hold that thought, we'll come back to it in seconds. They're actually going to charge forward the open wounds there on NS. So, pick him off as well. Synderen next to fall, gets picked off on top of that. Another burst there on top of Illidan. Illidan going to go down as well. Maybe they've got Virtus Pro doing KSI to the top lane as well. Will we lose both of them? Yes, we will. Both the Alchemist as well as Lifestealer gets picked off. Ouch.
He's got to be cursing KSI right there. That Sprout was not only unnecessary, but is what resulted in Alchemist's death. He was baiting with stick charges, but as soon as he popped the stick charges, he wanted to run, not right-click. And yeah, in that spot, he didn't have a choice. He had to stand there and get locked down, and Lifestealer did get experience for that, bring him almost up to level 6. Now rotating into the mid lane, he only needs one creep kill of experience, and he'll have that next bomb.
Now, here's the thing, though. Like, that pull, sure, you can do it, but once Lina and that get a couple of levels, they can actually go in there and try and force you off it and try and steal it off you. So it's sort of a double-edged sword. And also, every time somebody goes over there to pull that, they're weakening the lane, which, when you're up against sort of a potentially high threat lane, it means Alchemist has to back off and he's not getting money out of that. So, I mean, it goes both ways. Like, right now, Alchemist, this is okay. Like, they can pull back because they've just picked up a kill, and it looks like Lina isn't able to actually force away. In fact, Lina's actually fallen behind it really heavily. Now that she doesn't have boots, they can do this pretty easily. The fact that, like, she doesn't have boots, Bane has boots, Ennis has boots, it's actually really risky for them, I think, to engage here.
Yeah, the one thing they do have to their name is Infest, whereas the only ultimates on the board are for Virtus Pro are from the solo heroes. So they do have that at their advantage because, again, Koikova was able to bring down the Alchemist at the last second, but it's still, they haven't been able to use it much. I was thinking they might go for an Infest bomb for the OD on mid, just go for a single prison, OD walks over top of him, and that next bomb comes on out, but he had too much HP, double damage rune, just nothing that they wanted to work with here. As far as Glimpse skilling, it's only at rank 1, so not much potential for this to make happen, but the fight will break on out. Dragon Slave goes across, Bane is going to be the first to drop down, OD is the one that got stunned on up, so no Sans Eclipse just yet, but Illidan's taking a lot of right clicks, so he will drop down. Magic Stick keeping him up for a little bit longer, but that's that Arcane Orb to finish the job. Courier.
Arcane Orb, of course, really, really powerful, but now they're going to try and TP out NS, so Sans Eclipse will get away just barely, but it looks like KSI will pay the price of showing up to fight this.
And meanwhile, Black gets to farm down a bottom lane because KSI left. So KSI gets dropped, and although they won't put too much damage in the tier 1 tower because of Bane's return TP, they still get the opportunity for Black to farm away that Battle Fury.
This I feel we don't see enough. Like, I really dislike it when OD just sits mid and doesn't do anything. Like, this being active, fighting, putting pressure on the lanes, I feel this is really, really strong. And, like, you see teams that can do this more often. Like, this is why I feel the 4 stuff is integral, because it gives you a lot of options in mobility in terms of just going after these fights, as well as the bottle. Just because you get more active, and more importantly, you also keep the runes off the opposing mid. Because, I mean, you give Kunkka a double damage, or a haste or invisibility, like, he can go and do some nasty things with those. So, just making sure you control the runes also gives your other lanes a lot of peace of mind. And I mean, forcing these rotations out of Virtus Pro is really causing some havoc. Because like you said, like as soon as Nature's Prop, not only did he die top lane, but as soon as he pulls away from that lane, Black has every last hit in the lane that he wants. And that's like Black, you don't want to leave him to farm. In Black we trust, he does some really disgusting things with farm.
Indeed, and now they have 2 core heroes that are both doing pretty fine. I mean, yeah, it's not top in the charts, but Koiko's 31 CS on lifesteal is not too shabby when you compare it to Alchemist, who is only sitting at 22 and 5. So on top of that, the top of the charts, 60 CS for Black, and when that Battle Fury comes on out, it's just going to get outrageous what he can actually come on out with. So Team W is going to try to change that up a little bit, but with only 1 X marks, he cannot guarantee a torrent. So there's going to have to be a little bit luck involved if he's going to get this kill off. Anti-Mage going farming. Oh, this is bad. Boat will fall after the torrent. This should be a kill. Oh, Black getting greedy, but he does get the blink off. 15 HP remains, and he will survive. KSI doesn't have global teleport. Has to go dive under the tower, and he does not want to do that. So close for a kill, but didn't work out for them.
Wow, I'm getting Black's like, yep, I'm pretty glad I put that 1 level in Spell Shield. Kept him alive there. So yeah, he will get away, and that's a pretty good blow. But speaking of big blows, top lane, NS managing to sneak away for the moment. Soul Assumption, no mana for that, just sticks up for it now. However, Arsa, big damage there for the Orbs. Concoction going to pick him off there. Light Strike away to hit Illidan, though. Illidan taking massive damage. Here comes a Torrent. No boat available. It's going to be on cooldown for another 20 seconds, plus he's out of mana. It looks like they will get at least a revenge kill on the OD, so trading the OD for the Alchemist.
Yeah, not too shabby in that situation. The fact that NS got on out of that made it a 1-for-1, but actually not just yet. There was a glimpse kill, picking off Cinder in there, so actually pretty good for VP.
Sour. Oh, Cinderin must be so sad. It's like, yes, I'm away. See you later, suckers. Oh shit, I'm dead.
Never say those words against a friggin' Disruptor. You'll live to regret them.
Disruptor, though, has got one more. I feel like he's playing with fire here. He's sitting all on 120 health. You know what? I can do this. He's just getting jumped by somebody. But for the moment, he's safe. Nobody available to go after him. Except Black, maybe. It's Black sitting. It says, you know what, Rune, just going to go back to farming. And Cinder, or KSI rather, just going to go and steal some farm. I like this. He jumps in here, takes one creep. And will he take all of them? Because this is going to leave the creep camp sort of half-eaten and not worth very much money. It's top lane.
Yeah, very, very close. Almost brought him down, but the Familiar is missing twice over, and the Concoction comes back around. He's actually going to man up on this. He can do it with the Brain Sap. Oh my goodness, so close, but unfortunately the Familiars just couldn't reach. Pause, microed them perfectly. The Open Wounds was at a great time, but either the fact that it wasn't a maxed out Open Wounds, or the fact that he just had so much movement speed from the Chemical Rage. Either way, Alchemist able just barely by the skin of his teeth skirt on out of there, and then turning it around for a very important kill on the lifestealer. Now Matt ties it up, equalizer 8-8.
I'm just going to look at the gold chart here. As it looks like it's a small advantage here to Mouse, 1500. It's pretty good, although obviously not insurmountable. No towers down yet for either team, so it looks like they're going in deep on... No, decides not to gun for it, just going to harass and annoy Kunkka somewhat, steal all of his mana, and just generally be a bit of an aggravation there, as it looks like they will port top. They're going to bring Illidan back up there. But yeah, 1k advantage now to Mouse Sports. Experience-wise, though, dead heat, and that's probably the more important thing at this point in time, is that experience lead, or not lead, as it looks like they will, because those skills, getting those extra levels in the spells, maxing out more spells top lane, though, looks like they're charging Concoction, Laguna Blade, though, and this is what I mean, hitting those levels. Get the ults out, we'll manage to pick off Alchemist. Cinder and getting a bit of a revenge.
Yep, using the drums, getting the kills, that's what they need to keep on doing. Alchemist, right now, is actually not in a great spot at all. We were looking at a Black's Nature's Prophet last time around, well now we're looking at Illidan's Alchemist. Should have a lot of farm, but by and large, very far behind. Currently sitting at 2,500 net worth when Black is just about to double him. I mean, that's just not a situation you want to be in, especially on a hero that gains bonus gold and generally speaking is always supposed to be at the top of the charts as a carry. So really good position for Mousesports to take this away just based on sheer momentum. But as you were saying, Virtus.pro's team fight is very substantial under the right circumstances, and now they're trying to go down on bottom, get a Smoke Ward and Invis Rune, trying to gank up Black as best as possible. But here come the TPs up top. Koigava gonna get Fiend's Grip brain sapped, but it looks like they're canceling all TPs. Team W staying down bottom, looking for Anti-Mage.
I look at this game and I think, I look at Mousesport's lineup, I think, yeah, that's a pretty good lineup as Black about to get harassed, and I think he was trying to get inside the trees there, regrets it, doesn't manage to do it, now he's a little bit stuck. I heard an X marks the spot, although boat comes through. Nobody dead just yet. We've got an Astral Imprisonment for the save. Nice save there, so we'll drop a Sands Eclipse. That's a lot of damage to KSI trying to get out. We're going to Nightmare him, may end up denying him, will get picked up by a Soul Assumption though. And drilled down there as it looks like another torrent goes out. Doesn't land though. More ports coming in from Mousesports. Thunder. Will it finish? Doesn't look like it. He should be able to heal up there with a bottle and the stick as well. Gonna get away. Some open wounds on Arsa. Arsa though, out of mana, life strike away. They've got Laguna. No Laguna. We'll finish him off though with a mana void. And that's not a great result there for Virtus.pro. But I'm just looking at this lineup and I'm thinking, Blaze, yeah, they've got an anti-mage late game, OD late game, Nake's late game. That's a pretty strong late game, but then I just look at Virtus.pro and I see Alchemist. Okay, Alchemist is pretty good late game, but I just look at the Kunkka crits, and it's just one of those things. You get some bullshit crits, you can just... the game can just completely flip on its head. So, despite the fact that Mousesports has a ridiculously good late game because of their sort of the tri-core lineup, I still feel at any point Virtus.pro, with some sheer luck, could come through.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. There's a lot of potential with the Shadow Blade Daedalus action. Actually, KSI going to try to go make something happen down in Cinderin. I think Cinderin is going to play the role of the sacrificial lamb. Gets the stun in KSI, wanders around in the trees, and everybody else gets to head for the hills. So, end result, now the Anti-Mage about to finish up that Battle Fury. It's actually on... No, he still needs the Broadsword along with his Claymore. So, one more item to pick on up before he finishes it up, but... the killing spree ending kill was actually really helpful to increase his farm. However, speaking of that gold transference, we're going to see Tier 1 tower get dropped down and Kunkka to last hit that, which is very, very nice for Virtus Pro.
Yeah, if anything's going to help out Virtus Pro here, it's the fact that they're taking towers while Mouse Sports, they're not. That's definitely going to give them a much-needed gold infusion. So we see a glimpse there to send... I think it was actually on Corey, but it didn't happen though because he raged up, preventing that static. Storm gets thrown out, doesn't catch anybody. Bit of a waste. Concoction being charged up now. We do have a Claymore there on Illidan. Needs to find a target to throw that on. Doesn't find. I think he actually possibly tried to dodge that. Didn't happen though, so he's going to try and move in here. Boats coming in. Is it going to land? So Will managed to drop on top. I think just got him on the edge there. It wasn't Torrent. Doesn't matter. Either way, we've lost the Outworld Devourer as he's going to throw another. Throws on Concoction on top of Black. Black is down. As Corey announced to drop a Soul Assumption down on Illidan. Illidan trying to get away. Birds are on him. Birds are coming in. They're going to give chase as well as a lifesteal. That's an easy kill. They gets boxed in. However, Torrent X marks the spot. Down goes the Visage. And it looks like it's going to be... Well, they're blocking him off with the birds there, so they're going to buy time for him to teleport out.
They might lose one familiar out of it, but all in all, not a terrible fight for Mouse Sports, but that OD getting pinned in and focused down so hard, and then the double stun coming out on the two Bright Clickers, Anti-Mage and Lifestealer both got hit by Concoction. That was not great for them. Yeah, I mean, this fight started... I understand why they initiated right there with the max rank Unstable Concoction hitting on the Alchemist, but he's still pretty tanky with that ultimate active, and he's able to live through quite a bit there, so... Yeah, unfortunately, that was not going to be a fight that they could take away, and now they have Sunny's Eclipse, maybe next time around, but for this one, they made some pretty big mistakes jumping on into that when there was just so many other cards on the board on the table. I mean, right now KSI dishing out a lot of damage. Medallion is going to allow him to go and focus down Roche very quickly, and Acid Spray on top of that. This is a very, very fast Roshan.
Yeah, just looking at his armor levels there, going to -10, that is definitely making him very easy to chew through there. And of course, Trent said tank as well. Do we see a reaction from Mouse Sports? I don't think they know that Medallion's up and running yet, so they may not actually guess to go for it. They might guess something's up if nobody comes to defend this mid tower, so we may need some of the Virtus Pro people to teleport there and say, hey, what's up? Because otherwise you go, hang on, wait a minute, why are you not defending this? Because that tier 1 mid is preventing a lot of real estate and rotation from Mouse Sports, preventing them from getting active across that mid area there. See a teleport down bottom. Looks like Black is being chased after. I think he should be able to escape though. They're going to try and glimpse him back inside a Static Storm. Oh, very nicely played by Anis. This is why people ban against him. Ban that Disruptor against him. He's really, really nasty with it.
And yeah, and the thing was, Black didn't have any choice. Like, people look at that and say, oh, he dilly-dallied around, he could have tried to blink away. No, that glimpse is an insane range. It's more than your entire screen. And just looking at that, if he had gone his full blink, then it still would have been in range for the glimpse, and the Thunder Strikes gives vision. So there was really no hope for Black at all. He got caught in that Static Storm, and he got dropped down. So really nicely done. And they also find another very important pickoff. OD, not sure why he was staying that long when they know that the... Alchemist is on the prowl, but in the end, they got the Concoction, they got the Torrent, they got everything they needed to lock down OD, and while I'm covering that, down on bottom, they do find a kill for themselves, not even using Glimpse, just need the Fiend's Grip, and surprisingly Disruptor provides enough damage, so tons of cash coming in for Virtus Pro as they take a tier 1 tower and 3 different kills.
I think it was on Cinderin, so Cinderin pretty easy from the... Like, I mean, 300 damage from Brain Sap, he's going to fall apart so quick. Shadow Blade's being picked up. Left, right, and center. We've got one on our Nature's Prophet. Kunkka's already got his done as well. I think that's possibly what caught out.
Is that 3 Lothars?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 3 Lothars. Well, they haven't quite finished Alchemist yet, but I'm pretty sure that's what caught out OD, the fact that Kunkka had a Shadow Blade. I don't think you'd seen that out before. Kunkka, though, kind of mana starved at the moment, really needs to find a rune if he can. It's a haste rune top, he's going to grab that, actually. It's my items, they're actually... I don't know why mine is a bug. They're falling off the screen. I can't see what they're buying up there.
Lots of treads.
Lifesteal, what do you get? It's Armlet. It's Armlet's done for OD. Sorry, for Lifesteal, and there we go. This is Black's favorite toy, the Battle Fury. So this is where the farm gets out of control. Do you think he can hit he can hit such a stride though? I don't know. Do they? I don't know if they have the ability to shut down Black. I mean, if he gets the BKB, I just don't know if they can really shut him down. Although of course they do have Fiend's Grip. But then again, Black is going to be like he's going to be avoiding. Like he's not really going to commit until he sees that come out. And they have lots of targets. I mean, they have to go up Nate, Lifesteal with Rage. OD, of course, is always you need to catch that guy quickly. So I think Anti-Mage is going to have a lot of free roam in these fights.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Black will have plenty of time and opportunity to use that Battle Fury very effectively up on the top lane. Up against Prophet, there's not much that can be done. I mean, KSI can do some hard right clicks with Shadow Blade, but it's not enough to bring him down. Meanwhile, though, on bottom lane, we're going to see the BKB popped off. That's going to be enough for possibly Fiend's Grip, but no, Astral Imprisonment keeps him up. They're just going to drop the Kinetic on Static right on top of him, and all that Fata can do is watch and mech as he gets dropped down very, very quickly, but actually turns it around nicely, is able to drop off his ultimate, and Illidan is going to get finished off by the Familiars. Now TMW on the run, Haster and Shadow Blade, it's enough to get him on out of there, but this Aegis, they don't want to waste it. They're going to come back on into it. Stun comes out on Alchemist, though, and they should get a double kill here. Illidan charging up the Concoction, can't get in Quickova, though, just gets right-clicked down. Now, Quickova looking for another. Oh, going on the run now. Needs to armlet toggle in a moment, but just going to infest inside the creeps of KSI. Gets denied, is going to armlet toggle once again, but this time under the safety of his tower. I don't think that VP can go this deep, but they can try to go for the OD. He just prisoned himself to avoid the glimpse, but got dropped down with the Thundering Strikes anyways. So close, the mechanism almost off cooldown, but didn't work out for him. He does get dropped, and my goodness, are they diving deep. Actually, Team W a little bit too deep. Last right click will come on through, and that's going to be one dead Kunkka. Tier 2 tower at 1/3 HP, but Cinder comes in to defend it. Meanwhile, Black up on top, munching down on creeps, going down on the Tier 2 tower.
Yeah, I think Virtus Pro, this is trademark aggression and definitely way too aggressive. See a Nightmare there on Black. Black probably could have actually torn Bane to shreds, but
he didn't know too much.
He didn't know how much backup was nearby. So unfortunately for Bane, no wards up means Black was reluctant to fight. In fact, Black just does what he does best, just goes back to farm, picks a few camps the way, gonna head bottom. As we see Lina, all right. I think the Shadow Blade just caught her out. She's not going to do that again. She definitely, with the Shadow Blade on the Alchemist now, she should not be up in the lane at all. As, wow, where did that die?
Down bottom lane, it was actually a Prophet TP,
KSI.
KSI with that Shadow Blade now coming in, flanking up on pause, decides he's not the juicy target he wants, and is just going to hide on out because he is behind enemy lines pretty hardcore. But waits for his cooldown to expire, make sure he's not auto-attacking anything, and yeah, he's going to be able to get on out of there in a moment.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, the birds don't scout him out there. They're actually going to have Tame My
Lothars.
The supports from our spots cannot leave tower range because they will. These guys are just everywhere. They're all through the place. Unless they want to put like counter wards everywhere, they need to stay near the towers because they just get picked off. Like Lina, if she steps out, she's getting torn to shreds. Any one of these guys can kill her so easily.
Yeah. Dear Diary, Nix. It's just like, you feel like you have assassins everywhere. You're just playing against 5 Nyx assassins right now. Bottom lane, Black, gonna get hit hard. Won't be dropped down though, despite the negative armor. The right clicks aren't sufficient, even with KSI TPing on in. He just came out a moment too late. If you had gotten one Shadow Blade right click and a Wrath of Nature, might have been a different story, but right here, earned on up, gonna keep on farming.
You will get away, indeed, but now us, oh wow. Bane has a... Where did he find the farm for that? Bane has a freaking BKB.
Yeah, and he's already used it once. He was able to use it down on the bottom. But it was... actually, that's a good question. There was a Fiend's Grip, BKB Fiend's Grip down on bottom, but it was interrupted. I guess it must have been Anti-Mage's Mana Void. There was really not much else that can interrupt it at its current state.
Yeah, it could have been Anti-Mage's Mana Void. He might have just flat out died. I mean, he was under the tower there, so the tower was shooting him. He would have fallen pretty quickly, but... Yeah, I mean, yeah, Mana Void, definitely. That would have been the only way to interrupt it. But now they're going to go after Anti-Mage. Oh, blinks away. Bane, unfortunately, gives the game away. He's a little bit too obvious. I always would have said, like, they should have just had KSI run out and scare him backwards into Bane.
So
like, I'm sure he might have blinked away, but in the wrong direction. But, yeah, mid lane.
Yeah, they're trying to bring him down. They have a Geometry Sight on pause. Visage, oh, just catches him on the lip. That is going to be fought to be able to bring him down. KSI comes on in, though. They wanted to clean up Anti-Mage. They certainly got him, but can they actually get out of this alive? NS taking a lot of hits. Laguna, but now Nightmare. The Visage is almost going to bring him down. 180 HP. He's limping away, but everybody else is on the assault. No, they're not. Going to go ahead and just take to the lane, look for the tier 2.
Kunkka has picked up a broadsword. He also bought back there. If they can get this tier 2, I feel like it would have been worth it, but if they don't secure the tier 2, it would have been a bit of a waste, to be honest. So we'll see what they can pull out of this. He is on his way. He's looking for crits. If you get the crits, if you can get the Daedalus up, this is where things are going to get messy. And where RNGG Well, we'll see what Virtus Pro have up their sleeve with that, but obviously, I've also the other thing I would like to see, like more BKBs. Like this is really, I think, what's going to stymie a lot of the damage out of OD. If they can get the BKBs up, it's going to just allow. I feel like it's just going to allow Nature's Prophet / pretty much anybody to just close the gap and just put some damage at him. Because if he's trying to pick up, if he wants to get damage, like really be a good right click damage, like he needs to pick up a Hex next. But if he's going for the Hex right now between the 30 to 35 minute mark, I feel like he's not going to have the armor to tank these fights, and he's definitely going to be very vulnerable to the amount of negative armor coming out, as well as just the sheer right click that Kunkka as well as Alchemist can dish out.
Yeah. So, you were surprised and astonished at Arzart's farm before? Now check him out. Friggin' Blink Dagger at only 26.5 minutes, all in conjunction with his BKB. He's picked up 7 kills, 7 assists, and a total of 69 CS. Totaling it up, he has got a net worth value of 4th place despite being a support. And the reason that this is such a big deal is because of Blink Initiation to bring down anti-mage. But first, we're going to see the Fiend's Grip come out quickly, but a defensive Astral Imprisonment keeps him up and going. So they're going to be able to walk away from this, only to see a Static Storm Kinetic Field drop on down. NS getting right-clicked very quickly. Kunkka's Rum only doing so much. He does get dropped down, but KSI gets a kill on Lina in turn. Now we're going to see dropped on back, X marks the spot. Fata taking a lot of hits here. He will get hit by the Instant Concoction. Should be finished off, but Black turning it around with Koikova to bring down Illidan very, very quickly now. Can actually probably bring down TMW, though. There is going to be a big torrent. Too much right-click damage. KSI also getting dropped down with one more right-click. Yeah, that's going to be it. And the big thing, the reason why everybody just started dropping all of a sudden is because that's when Kunkka's Rum started wearing off. So they're taking damage from the first half of the fight, along with some massive right-clicks from some rather farmed carries. So
who's got the detection? Because Kunkka,
Gem
he's Shadow
on
Blade
pause.
there.
Paz had been carrying a gem for, I'd say, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, something like that. So he's been having that for a little while.
I didn't see him close to... He must have just been skulking around here and I didn't notice him. Because definitely, like, Kunkka died over here. It was just Lifesteal and Anti-Mage fighting. I didn't see him hanging around, but maybe he was close enough, just close enough to detect him. But yeah, Kunkka's Shadow Blade was on cooldown there where he died, so he used it. Tried to get away.
Mm-hmm. So, Virtus Pro dropping like flies in that engagement. They just couldn't finish the job the way they needed to, and things got turned around pretty hardcore on them. Do you think that that's going to keep on happening, or do you think that they're just going to avoid 5v5s and try to pick off Black now that they have the Blink and can bring down Anti-Mage pretty easily?
I feel like that fight was pretty much, it was won by OD, just purely coming down to the fact that he disrupted, disrupted Astral Imprison to mess up the Fiend's Grip. That completely wasted that ult. Secondly, we had the Alchemist move in, try to get off his stun. He messed that up too with another Astral Imprisonment. I feel like Virtus Pro can take these fights, but they've got to watch the Astral Imprisonment, and I feel like they need to shut down the OD. They need to catch him, or at the very least, just nightmare him for a little bit, and just give him a bit of time to work with it, because they don't land that. Or alternatively, just open up from a distance with the boat, the torrent.
Yeah.
But if they try and scrappily go on like that, I don't think it's going to happen. I definitely don't think they should lead with Bane. I feel like leading with Bane is pretty much like showing all your aces at once.
Definitely. I definitely agree with you there. I mean, going on the front line, there's just so much that can lock him down. Even with BKB, he's still, at best, can hold somebody in position for a few seconds, and then he can get right-clicked down by some hard carries. So, really, I think the answer for VP right now is KSI's Scythe of Ice. He's just been able to pick that up. He can TP, Shift Q a Sheep, and guarantee some very powerful disables. Now we're going to see the Familiars picked off here. The Ultimate's off cooldown, but that's still extra cash you don't want to expend and hand out to the enemy. Either way, right now, I would say Mousesports still feel pretty confident in their position because, again, they have such great late-game heroes, and they have gotten majority of their core up now that the Manta is out on the Anti-Mage, and, of course, the race car build plus Armlet is up on Koikwa. So, in this position here, they are pretty ready to rumble, but they have to be wary, of course, because of the Aegis Immortal on Prophet, and because of the sheer damage output that can come on through if they do get grouped up too much.
Yeah, of course, they get RNGG'd. Crits. They're already on Kunkka. It doesn't have the big crits, though, just the little ones. Waiting to finish the Daedalus, but we have NS rolling mid. They're looking like they've got an aggressive ward down here. I think that was actually possibly blocking the creep spawn as well. I think if they put a counter ward in here, it's just out of range. I'm not dead sure, but unfortunately, they have multiple gems against them, so I don't think that ward's going to last for long. Sadly enough. Low ground ward's not going to be that helpful, and I really appreciate the fact that Mousesports, not only they need this gem, they cannot do that. In fact, they still have it, don't they?
Yeah, haven't lost.
Yep, they still have it because I mean, triple Lothars, you've got to have the gem. There's just no argument about it. You can't see these guys coming in to gank you. And secondly, map control. The more they slow this game down, like the more line of sight and map vision they remove from Virtus Pro, the slower Virtus Pro are going to have to play, and that makes more time for their tri-core lineup to get super fat.
Very tense moment up on top lane. Black and Arzart cross paths for just a moment. He saw the creeps that were being farmed up by Arzart, and because of the ping, I believe that Arzart also caught wind of Black's position. But either way, nothing happened. No Fiend's Grip came on through, so that could have been really, really bad for Black. He has to be so careful this game. Like, he loves to farm. This guy, if some people were born with a silver spoon in their hand, this guy was born with a blood-covered Battle Fury. It's just like, he farms, that's what he does. But if he farms too aggressively, the Scythe, the Fiend's Grips, the Glimpses, these can all spell disaster for him very, very quickly. So has to watch himself, has to be very, very careful as he progresses onward, especially now that VP are invading their territory.
I like what VP are doing here. They're just focusing, let's get rid of some more towers. This will give them A good goal advantage. B, it's just going to make it tough. Like, the more towers they get rid of, it's the easier it is for them to just put pressure on the lanes and on the Raxes, and also just makes it harder. So much harder for Black to farm. Like, you basically just cutting down TP reinforcement points and just basically push it. Like, there's so little room to farm because of that. And there we go. In fact, they're actually pushing this top Rax, and Mousesport's going to respond. I mean, they need to respond here. Glyph gets expended. However, we've run out of ult for Alchemist. He might just back off and wait 15 seconds here.
Yeah. Not a bad idea. Gonna get a plate mail as well, but we do see coming on out, X marks the spot, but he's gonna get defensively prisoned, and that's gonna be a waste of a boat.
Yeah, sadly. And it looks like they will actually counter push it. In fact, they're giving up. Taymol on that push. Taymol is going to go back and farm the bottom lane, and he is getting fairly close to a Demon Edge here. In fact, almost has it. Should have it shortly. I mean, unless he wants to... He doesn't really need to save buy. They've got tier 2s up still. It looks like we might have an engagement here top.
Yeah. Looking for an opportunity. We actually do see them going in pursuit of Alchemist here, but they don't really have too many means of slowing him on down. He can pop Chemical Rage right now, and I think he can get on out of here. But he's trying to bait them a little bit further. There's going to be a glimpse right when the blink comes on through. Either way, there's a prison on top of the Alchemist. Now we're going to see real quick Bane gets right-clicked on down. BKB not going to help you there. And that's just based on that race car build. You can close the distance. You don't have to slow them. You just have to be faster. Don't have to outrun the bear. Just outrun the person right next to you, and you're able to close the distance, bring him down. So
I think the OD, he's picked up the early BKB. Now, this is sort of a double-edged sword. Hasn't used it yet. But obviously, it's going to make it Static Storm useless against him. The other important thing is also messes up Glimpse and X marks the spot. I think that's very important because X marks the spot pretty much guarantees torrents of boats are going to hit you. So that's great. On the other hand, though, it does delay a Scythe, and the Scythe is what's going to give him that damage, or even something like a Shiva. Like, he needs that damage. So right now, his right-click is not the best, and in fact, I think Black is hitting a lot harder than him, as well as Korkova. So he's probably not the priority target. His ult is, again, not as strong as it could be on top of that. Fortunately, his opposing lineup, for the most part, the Cures he needs to kill are at strength-based, so that's not too much of a problem there for his ult, but still. His damage output is not as high as he'd like it because of the BKB.
So, these past couple of games have really, really shown how effective Mousesports can be at trying to farm it up, trying to control the map, and VP answering back with their kind of signature aggression style. Like, they really, back and forth, these games have been very, very intense. Between these two teams, who do you think has the better playstyle against the other? Who do you think is more advantageous just based on how they like to play?
Right now, I think Mousesports have a huge advantage against VP. Like you said, VP want to get very aggressive. They're charging blindly into the enemy jungle, and that's where I think they're going to come undone. Right now, they're relying on sheer luck. They stumble across someone who's gankable because they have no map vision up, because Mousesports have done the smart thing. They've got the early gem, they've removed map control, they have their own wards up, which I feel Virtus Pro should be way more diligent about removing. Like, they charge through this jungle here looking for kills. They're spotted up. They know they're coming. So they're not going to get caught out by it. I really feel like they need to remove map vision the same way that Mousesports are doing so. And the fact that they can't see what the hell's going on, they're just running around. The problem is, if they want to try and gank blindly, they have to go as a group. Because if you gank blindly with just one or two guys, there's so much more potential for things to mess up. At the very least, like, worst case scenario, if you gank blindly with 5 guys, it's equal footing.
Yeah.
You both surprise each other, hopefully.
And some good wards from the Radiant really, really helps out as well. Mousesports have put up 2, and they can see people shadow blading into their jungle like Alchemist right there, and they know their presence is there and that they don't have to go in in an unfavorable circumstance. It's just they can play it cautious, they can turtle it up, and they can take this away because it kind of feels like if it's such a thing, Virtus Pro is almost too bloodthirsty in this circumstance. They want to get kills. They have a bunch of disables and abilities to lock down a single target or even multiple, but it all comes undone if they're not actually able to meet. But do you see Black is actually going to force the issue here? No. NS going to glimpse him, but he's going to BKB. He's going to pop off his BKB, avoid the glimpse only to get Fiends gripped up, and now he's all by himself getting right-clicked really hard. No crits just yet. There's going to be some crits to bring him down very, very quickly by KSI. The Brain Sap, but no, he mantas out to cancel it. And now we do see a big ultimate coming out from Fata, but going to get right-clicked hard from KSI. There's a prison, but it is enough Team W on the chase. Fata should fall with this next right-click. Double damage room doing work. Torrent not going to connect, and now they have to go for a long, long chase. Arzart finishes it off, but that's one kill in a big, big engagement. Either way, they do take something for nothing, and they're going to put pressure down on bottom.
I mean, this is like an item you don't normally see him make. The Blink Dagger, he rarely gets a chance to farm it, but it's just Blink Dagger on anybody. It's good. Except maybe Anti-Mage. Actually, speaking of Blink Dagger and Anti-Mage, apparently, like in the last hour or so, there was an AMD Premier League game where Mushi bought a Blink Dagger on Anti-Mage. So, you know, I say it's not great on him, but what the fuck do I know, apparently? So we're going to see the birds come in, trying to harass, probably give away some free bird gold. Oh. Careful, and Best comes out. Oh no, look at them get shredded. Oh, wow. Tears of regret.
That Light Strike Array, Cinder in MVP world. I don't even, like, that was such a good stun, and VP walked right into it, and the Mouse Sports immediately responded. I guess that's the coordination of being in the team house, or I don't even know, but the second that stun was about to hit, they were there. They got the Stoneform Familiars, they got the Light Strike Array, and they're like, there's two people that Black wants to shred, and he got an easy opportunity to do so. And now Virtus Pro lose every little bit of momentum that they had a moment before. They still have the gold advantage, but the experience advantage has been all but nullified.
No tears now, only pain. Only sweet, sweet pain. Mouse Sports, my god. That was, I mean, they keep initiating like that. Like, Virtus, I guess it's partially Virtus Pro's fault there. Yeah. They should not have been grouped up to get, like, their two priority targets, Kunkka as well as Alchemy. They both went down at the same position there. And I think they were all trying to, just group up and take the birds, which, it's a retard make it, Carl. It worked. They got greedy, they went in there, and they got punished so hard for it. So definitely have to watch out for that. Nobody else, like, I don't think they'll do that again. They're really, we're going to see that, no, BKB.
So he has exhausted a couple charges. That's the second usage of BKB to completely eliminate Glimpse, but that's a very substantial portion of why NS picked Disruptor, is to try to pull back the Anti-Mage into a bad position and lock him down. Silences, and we're actually going to see X-Mark not going to connect with the Rage and TP. So again, just they cannot really get that lockdown. They can't do it. They can't pull back Lightstealer if he sees it coming. They can't pull back Black if his BKB is off CD. So in this position here, they have a lot of right-click potential themselves with Double Date Alice, but all the same, Mouse Sports are surviving through everything. Roshan will be respawning in just a few seconds here. I believe this is Cheese Roche, so a little bit more bounty from the Pinata this time around.
Yeah, well, as fat as Anti-Mage is getting, we cannot always, like, we can never discount Crit Splash, the Tidebringer crits. On the other hand, we do have a 4K lead currently for the Dire side. It has swung back down from 10,000 plus, but now engagement comes in. BKB is popped out by our side. He's going to throw down the Fiend Script. It's on top of Anti-Mage. Can they disrupt it? BKB is about to wear off there, and an Astral Imprisonment to save Anti-Mage. Oh my god, look at Illidan get destroyed. Absolutely blown to pieces there. However, he does have the Aegis, as he will come back up in a second, but KSI now gets stunned for a second. He's going to come back up, and he goes down yet again. Black now jumps in top of him. They will use the Astral Imprisonment defensively there on OD. OD moving in. His Sandy's Eclipse was absolutely massive there. Took Illidan's first life almost alone there, as now the Grave Chill as well on top of Illidan. Illidan's going to fall again. Yeah,
and they used the cheese too. KSI popped that off when he was inside the pit. Just couldn't handle the damage, and although Ghost Scepter will get Arzard out, I believe. No, actually Black really, really wants him. So he's going to stay on top of him. The Nightmare just about to come off cooldown. Not going to be anything sufficient, though. And Black gets another kill, mega kill streak. And yeah, that was a great fight for them. Along with that, Kunkka being inside the pit at the time, couldn't get out for a good Vector on boat. So that wasn't an option for them. Might have been able to get Kunkka's Rum up, but that's essentially all they can really offer to that. And in turn, just the initiation timing, it couldn't have been better. And now they not only have taken many heroes, the Aegis and the Cheese, but they might be able to get Rax here, as there is no buyback available on the Alchemist.
I think it's a definite Rax. There's no way Kunkka and Disruptor are holding this off together. Not against 5. Not a hope in hell. In fact, there we go. Mousebot's doing the smart thing, sweeping. That's all Disruptor can do. He can throw out a desperate glimpse to try and slow Black down for one whole second before he blinks straight back to where he was. Torrent's going to come out there, but it's not going to be enough. This Rax is going down. Still 5 seconds on the nearest hero, and Glip is dead. Or rather down, not available. I think the best thing they can hope to do is TP Profit right now and try and sweep, try and snag their own Rax, but I think we've got TPs available to get back there anyway.
Well, there we go. That is a huge swing in favor of Mousesports. They take it down the 2 top racks, 1 in middle, the melee, and then they do leave behind just a 500 HP range to sit on. Think about what's done. But yeah, the big thing here is that gold advantage going finally in favor of Mousesports. They're going to be able to buy up the items they need. Looking at either Butterfly, yeah, it's going to be Butterfly. Eagle Song already picked up for the Anti-Mage, and meanwhile, Lifestealer could build for Abyssal at any point in time. So both in a great position. Not sure if they want to buy out for all these items just yet, but along with that, the support's got some much needed love. Aghanim Scepter on Pause, Force Staff on Cinderin. They're in such a better position than they were even 5 minutes ago, just because of a couple really, really good engagements for them. And they do actually buy out for the Abyssal and for the Butterfly. No buybacks at all in the entire game but Cinderin.
KSI's been sitting down here for a bit. In fact, I think he took all of his self-control to not try and fight Fado just as he walked past him, but we can see the continual farm there. In fact, NS, no, he will manage to get away here. They don't actually run after him there. But it looks like they're just going to push for the last remaining whole racks here on the bottom lane. Just going to group up and push. I think they can manage this pretty easily too. Just considering that like, Black is so huge right now, and you mentioned Warrior as well. He's sitting on the Abyssal Blade. Oh my god, that is really going to be difficult for them to deal with. Like the fact that like Illidan now cannot just walk in and just start a slap fight there is really going to be a problem. Like he's just going to have so many problems with getting disabled there. Yeah. Because of course, Naix actually does have a pretty big attack speed boost in the form of Rage. So he can just spit out those attacks, and then of course with the Overwhelm as well, it's pretty much going to lock down. If he tries to engage, if Alchemist tries to engage, he's just going to get shut down so quickly. Yeah, and it's not even just the disables, it's a sheer amount of farm. Right now, Alchemist sitting at, very uncharacteristically for Illidan, 146 CS, just very far behind. And it goes back to that thing where I was saying they were too bloodthirsty. They wanted kills so bad, and all they were doing was roaming around the enemy's jungle, looking for blind Shadowblade pickoffs, and they just didn't get the opportunity. Now going on in, fight breaks on out, Fada going to drop the bomb, Hammer is down, and they are going to be able to bring down Disruptor with that last right click. KSI going to drop as well, TMW is going to be finished off. Just great stuns coming out of Cinderin, and the Familiars all stacked up. Triple stuns come on through. Fada taking a lot of damage, but still will survive. KSI comes back on into it. The buybacks are everywhere, but KSI is going to get dropped down. Black just cleaning things up. Unstoppable spree for him. Although a Nightmare delays the inevitable, he gets finished off as well. Triple kill for Koikwa, looking for TMW. They're going to finish off here as GG has already been called. Wow, what a freaking game. What a friggin' last fight as they just demolished them with massive items. Oh goodness, that isn't farmed up. Lifestealer and Anti-Mage, and there's not very much you can do about that when you're in Virtus Pro's shoes. No, they are disgustingly fat. And as it is, it will be Mousesports moving along towards the top of the winners bracket, and it looks like Virtus Pro will be knocked down into the losers brackets now. And Mousesports, they'll be facing off against
Evil Geniuses.
Evil Genius, that's right.
Oh no, they won, so they're facing Alliance.
No, all the way around. Alliance, yeah. We face against Alliance. It'll be EG versus Virtus Pro in what, about 5 minutes?
Yeah, as soon as we can get it going. Yeah, we're pretty much raring to go there, and yeah, exciting matchup despite a interesting beginning. Yeah, it kind of broke itself down here, where just you keep on quoting it in Black We Trust. There's just so much farm on those heroes. Koikova really making an appearance too. Like I've really regarded him as one of the higher tier offlane players, but the way he has been farming up and just playing these very item dependent heroes to great effect, it's been pretty impressive as well. So nicely done by all of Mousesports. Of course, the stuns and setup, doing that without any aid is a really big deal from Cinderin and Pause, so props to them. But as a whole, just well played to Mousesports as they finish off this game here up against Virtus Pro. And yeah, it comes down to the fact that, comparatively speaking, Virtus Pro could not find the farm. They looked for the kills, and they still had a kill disadvantage in the end of it. They just didn't have nearly the CS count for anybody but the Nature's Prophet. So, unfortunate for them, they do get dropped down to the lower bracket. That means up against Evil Geniuses, they will be subject to elimination if they do lose the next best of 3. But we'll be seeing either way. No matter who goes home today, we're still going to be seeing $1,000 given to anybody participating in the playoffs here. That's the minimum prize pool for 4th place. So one way or another, they're going to get something out of it. But if they do advance on forward, they will be securing 2K or higher. So that's what they're going to be looking for. Mouse Sports already securing that, going up against Alliance tomorrow for first thing. But our next matchup, as soon as possible, going to go on into Virtus Pro versus